Right now, I'm going to be introducing to you our guest, Sesan Okunade. He is an economist and a public affairs analyst. He's going to be helping us delve deeper into these headlines we just rolled out to you. Good morning, Sesan. So good to have you this morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Olumide. Good morning, Vivian. Good morning to all our listeners across the globe this morning. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's
Thank God it's
Friday. It's
Friday.
also a rainy Friday. Are you enjoying the weather?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm still within the house. I don't even know it's raining outside.
All right, so news flash is raining, right? So let me take you straight to the front page of the Guardian, right? There's this thing about this story. Sometimes you get so confused that your head begins to roll like this. That's the effect it has on me. I don't know if it has that same effect on you, but this is it. NNPCL and marketers return to PMS import over shortfall from Dangote. What do you think is really going on, Sheso?
Thank you very much. You see, the issue surrounding this petroleum product, I doubt if we have a way through in short time because of what I would regard as personal greed of some of these leaders. We heard from the producer, Dangote, that they can avail over 54 million liters, and the government said they needed 25, and we came up that they could only take 25 from him, and the other 15 will actually be imported. And you ask yourself the question, why are we not maximizing the domestic availability that we have? That is one. What we are facing in PMX, you can see the effect from the failure of AGO. You know, Dangote came out with a report to alert the nation that from its production, only 3% is being domestically consumed. That is for the diesel. And with the level of importation that we are getting on that, you expect that we'll patronize him the more. It speaks to how insincere some of our leaders are because the things are not just adding up, if you ask me. Right from the time of pricing, I don't know where you produce a product, my sister, and the Olumide, and it is the buyer that determines the pricing for you. Is it that you don't understand your cost of production or which regulation is actually regulating you to sell? Come out to let us know this is the actual cost of production, this is my actual sale, so that we can even know whether the government is subsidizing behind the scene or not. There are so many things shaded with secrecy that we don't understand. So if, as we speak, the information we are hearing again is that we want to resort to importation, it speaks volume of the revelation he gave to us that the cabals enjoy the largesse that they get from Malta, where they blend their own product. And nobody wants, they've invested a lot. It's just like asking some of those poor guys who are actually stealing our crude oil to actually desist from it with the massive investment that they've had in some of these things without government doing anything of that. So I feel everyone is protecting their investment and quite unfortunate that the local person had to suffer for it. The implication of this is huge. What do I mean by this? We're actually expecting that most of the time Nigerians just await someone to kickstart this process. And we're thinking that the success of Dangote refinery in the years to come, maybe between 3, 5, 6, 7 years, we should have more of Dangote, with the business mogul who will follow the template and provide more refinery for us, considering the fact that we have the resources called crude oil. But with this, there is operation is being frustrated, not being patronized. You discover that it is said a discouraging act. And maybe he will get back to his words that he said the other time that some of his friends were actually mocking him that he so much believe in this country, Nigeria, while they are actually making so much investment outside the country and repatriating back the funds to the nation. So it speaks volume of our system failure, and I doubt where we need to go from here.
All right, so let's try as much as possible to be positive and objective here. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel, and what would you recommend, or what would you suggest as a way of resolving this back and forth, this rift between Dangote and NNPCL?
Olumide, I would say this to say it's difficult to make suggestion for somebody who has behind him the nature of greed. You see, what is playing out here, as far as I'm concerned, is somebody just trying to fulfill his own side of the coin at the detriment of the citizen. And a lot of that has been seen. We've been asked to tighten our belt, consistently. And we have not seen, this kind of act from the leaders. I was reading a particular write-up regarding this independence coming up, and they say it's going to be a low key. That low key, I can let them bring out the expense on that. I'm sure you are not far from the office of the First Lady giving us a unity uniform. Yeah. That one definitely is not something that will come by. You ask yourself, is that what we need at this point in time when suffering is out there? And we are being asked to actually tighten up our belt, have understanding with them where the basic things are not being met. The level at which we are pricing fuel at this day, you ask, a lot of people are now parking their vehicles. I'm sure if you observe, there is no traffic as we used to have before, because people no longer drive. They trek, they join public bus in order. And you ask yourself, the long queue when you even want to patronize the government vehicles that you have to stay for hours is also there. So there is no advice you want to give on the part of the people who are not ready to fix a system that is transparent for everybody to have deeper understanding of. I once told someone that the way some of our leaders or people in authority behave is they don't mind Dangote's investment to collapse overnight so that they can enjoy the largesse that they have there in importation. They speak from one side of the mouth as if they are considerate with us, but from the other side, the action depicts that they are not in favor of the citizen. They just want to amass wealth for themselves, to oppress the people, and not actually to elevate them. This administration promised elevating people from poverty, but businesses has actually been dying. I also read in one of the dailies that they want to actually jail private sectors that are not paying the minimum wage. And my question is, has government started fulfilling their own side of the obligation? Because I know that the civil servants still complain that they are working on the template, except for few states. Nobody is talking about some states that are silent about whether they can even pay or not pay. But you can concentrate on the private sector that are struggling to even make ends meet for your citizen. So when you clamp on them in area of tax, in area of not making business operation flow with high cost of operation, I don't know how you expect the survival of the business organization. So if you ask me, a lot of advice has been there in time past, even before we get to where we are. How many of it has actually been utilized? Before we get to this stage with Dangote, you saw all the, what my people will call the 404 fights that happened between this, the both NNPCL. The time we were made to understand that the blending is substandard, they cannot give monopoly to Dangote, the product is not of a lot of things. And here we are, finally, after the so-called pressure by maybe the citizen, the CSOs and the likes, they succumb to say, okay, let's buy. And after buying for a week, we had to resort back to the importation. You see, an average leader, what we have seen is that what is there for me to gain for myself and my generation unborn that will be used to oppress the people. And that is not the way to go. We have said it, our leaders must show that intentionality on their part to know that they have the heart of the people at heart. If our education sector is anything to go by, You see, it's out there in the public domain, how a lot of our leaders will not even allow their children to school in this country, but they will be schooling outside the country. And when they go for graduation, they still show for, and they said they have the financial resources to do that. But what is the state of our own educational system in the country? Strike upon strike. The students, the teachers cannot. And so what do you expect? The businesses are actually not growing. I think the government just needs to have a second thought. Things are not easy for our citizens as people, and they just need to work on it, because the basic thing that makes life meaningful are just on the eyesight, and every day by day. I can tell you for free that this system has collapsed the middle class, and I doubt if it still exists. It's either you are rich or you are poor, and the level at which people beg this day, in fact, you won't want to go out and stay at the bus stop, because even a corporately dressed person is begging for money for transportation after he has trekked a long distance. So we need sincerity, intentionality on the part of the government, because our belief is that if we refine this product locally, the byproduct that we are not attaching costs to, that we get from the crude oil, can be an input to other sector in the country, and that cost is mass. When you take those things out, crude oil out, and you refine it outside, have you ever had any cost attached to the bitumen that they get from it, the fertilizer that they get from it, the jelly that they get from it? Those things are also being imported back into this country at a cost that put pressure on our foreign exchange. But you can imagine if all other products that are byproduct from this particular thing are actually considered as input, then to relieve your own pressure on foreign exchange on the things that you need to do.
Absolutely. And just to re-echo exactly what you said, the NLC just released a statement to say that the hiked petrol price has rendered the 70,000 naira minimum wage useless. That's what they said. But let me draw your attention to this headline on the front page of the Punch. It's about the Edo poll. Military mans state boundaries. EFCC goes after vote buyers. That's on the front page of the Punch. Then on the front page of the Guardian, you have this one here. People, politics, power, and their godfathers on the warpath. My colleague Olumide said earlier on that, the military officers manning boundaries. And, it looks like a war zone. I don't know, though. What's your take on this Edo gubernatorial poll that is just by the corner?
Vivian, if you say it looks like a war zone, to me, politics in Nigeria is war and a serious struggle. Pardon me, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but there is no politics in Nigeria that is being carried out, whether it's for a state or 2 states or 3 states, that you won't have loss of life, even when you try to manage the information. And it's go back to the major players, the politicians themselves, the followers, and it's because of the greedy nature. If it's about service to humanity, why do we need to kill ourselves? The people before now, how much have they extended, the winners, how much have they extended the hands of fellowship to the losers? They only say it by a mere word of sentence. Now that we have won, we are extending our hand of magnanimity to some of our fellow contestants, that we should come together and have, work together to build our country. But you ask yourself, when those one make suggestion, how many of it do you even well? As a matter of fact, when some people, when they lost out of election, the next thing to go is to just go into hiding and just leave that particular state. I won't be surprised if you see some of these people who before now, ask them, even in Edo, are they residing in Edo? A lot of the people that are out there to contest in some of these states reside in Lagos. And when election is about to happen, they go back to base. Have you contributed there? Do people know you in your terrain? Are you actually a grassroots person, or people are just working for you when election comes? So as far as I'm concerned, if you consider that it looks like war, it's something that a lot of people, we actually want to just stay indoor. And that's why you always see low turnout during election process, because you have militarized states. When you have over, from what we read and we heard from the Inspector General of Police, 35,000 police to actually man a state for election. I thought as at the last count, the number of police who were actually parading was not even up to 500,000. And when you divide that, don't we have local people that are actually manning that? Why do we have to bring in people who do not even understand the terrain of where you are taking them to for election purposes? All they need is instruction. Oga has said this, and this is what we will definitely act on, even when it's against what they are supposed to do. I just feel that everybody should be fair to themselves. I can only wish the people of Edo the best in this election, but with the presence of the military forces and the presence of the security agencies across board, NSDC, Army, Navy, Air Force, name them, present for this election, I'm sure you will see definitely low turnouts, because a lot of people have not even seen this number of security apparatus in the state to protect them. Why? When it is now time. So it's intimidating for you. Even as learned as we are now, if you stepped out of your house and all of a sudden you saw like 7-5 policemen that you don't see at your gate or at your entrance, you get scared. You get scared. Even when you don't have anything, that you are doing against the law, you get scared, because that is not the norm that you know. So everywhere you go, you have a show of force. You saw armor tank that you've not seen in the last 4 years, patrolling. You only give warning to your children and your husband, even if he wants to go out. Please be careful. And a lot will just say, well, I'm not even going to go out, because we can never predict. Because some people have actually been incited. Some people on their own, even when they are not being incited, because of the greedy nature in them, they want to protect their principal, even with their lives, and they don't mind, they don't damn the consequence of what will happen. And that will be impacting on innocent people that have just come to exercise their rights. Fine, the security agency are there to protect such, but I think we should advance in saying how we can electronically, make use of technology to actually carry out our election that will not even impact on the economy. I can imagine people that earn daily living, by tomorrow, when the election is going to happen, it will be sit at home. You can't sell anything, and you can't make daily living as you used to have until they open the state around 4 or 5, depending on when they close that. So we feel we should start thinking in that direction, where we can electronically carry out our election without impacting on the economic activity of the state or the nation at large. I read in one of the dailies before now that INEC is actually tracking the ballot boxes. I want to see the outcome of that thing as an individual. When you say you are tracking and they snatch, you should be able to know where those things. We want to have the report, because we know definitely some of the people that will carry out these acts, they don't even know. You see somebody who understands that when you steal a phone, it's not useful to you because you can track it, most especially some of these sophisticated, but you still go all out to steal the phone when it's not even useful to him. That is the way some of these guys think. So they are going to be definitely ballot snatching, because these guys don't listen. But we want the reports from INEC to review how those things are actually being tracked, just the same way you can track your phone if it's stolen once they don't switch it off. So let's see, because that one, I'm sure, is a device that those guys may not even understand the usefulness of it, to say they will switch it off. So we are waiting for the report. At least maybe that will give us a respite to say, okay, we are advancing in our electoral process, because when you now know that when you snatch a ballot box, it can be tracked to your location. So who wants to carry ballot box to his place when they know that it can easily be traced to their area with the tracker that they have on it? So this election will definitely expose certain things about how we'll move to the next one in preparation for 2027.
All right. Lastly, before we go, let's take this one from Vanguard. The federal government has warned citizens to relocate as a result of the Cameroon dam, the Lago Dam, that is the water coming from the Lago Dam. Now, so my question is, what's your thoughts about this kind of statement coming from the federal government itself, telling Nigerians to relocate out of their state and not providing any form of IDP camps or any form of relief for them?
Yeah, I've said it initially that the agencies responsible for that thing, we don't sack in this country. We are supposed to be proactive. Cameroon will not just wake up to say they want to open the dam. What handshake do we have with those neighboring countries that we know that certain things they carry out will impact on our citizens? It speaks volume of how we take care of our citizens. You see, Olumide, people that are wise enough will hearken to the voice of federal government saying relocate. You can see what is happening in Borno. If you don't relocate and you get submerged, if your life is not lost in that particular wherever, you will be the one to pay the price as an individual, because the only thing we will see after this has happened is to be hearing of billions as relief, rather than we using those billions to protect or actually channel it in such a way to prevent the occurrence of that particular thing happening, or actually managing the situation not to impact on people. I'm sure you know that people in Borno, that other dam that failed, affected, with so much billions and millions that we are actually hearing being disbursed by both the federal government and the agencies and individuals that is going into that state. I can tell you that the average person at the back end that needs that money may not even have access to some of those things. And that's why I feel that the government needs to be more intentional in being proactive to safeguard their citizens. If they ask them to relocate, my own honest advice is that look for somewhere to relocate to. When you are survived, when you are alive, you can have that audacious spirit to carry out more businesses in life. But when you lose out on one of your family members because of the failure of you not acting to the word of the federal government, they will come out to tell you that we gave the warning. Or you only, the aspect that you're asking Olumide to say government should provide IDP. It is when it has happened, you will hear of billion being provided to actually make people to maybe go somewhere. I saw a video which I never believed was what was happening in Borno, of where people were throwing bread, you know, and some of this. I'm still asking myself that I doubt that actually happened in a place where people are suffering, throwing bread to them for them to catch even in the water while you are in the boat. It's quite disheartening, some of the things, but it speaks volume how the government is actually having that concern. We don't want this reactive action from government, but we want being proactive to mitigate the problem, because the impact of you not addressing those issues at hand is much more than you taming it before it actually happened. Don't forget, the insecurity we are faced with today started small, and it has actually become a monster that is difficult for us to curb. So I just want to encourage the government to be more proactive in some of the things that they do to their citizens. Things are not smiling out there. We just have to state it. Whatever policies that they are actually putting in place, they should have the human face, in as much as we know that they are actually doing their best. But I can tell you that their best is not impacting on the citizen that they are leading, and we just need to say it as it is.
Yes, saying it as it is does it all the time. You've been brilliant on the show, Sesan. We thank you so much for your time.
It's always a great day to start the weekend with my people at The Impact. I wish you a very splendid weekend. Enjoy yourself. Don't think so much about this country. But one thing is very sure. is a passing phase.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely get to the end of it.
I say yes to that. Thank you so much and good morning. Right, we've been talking with Sesan Okunade. He is an economist and a public affairs analyst.